Okay, this is Mike Phipps, past president of Pickleball Club. Is that last year, Mike, you're president? Is that correct?
From April 1st, 2010 until the end of March 2011.
Okay, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where was your home, your original home?
My dad was in the military, so growing up we traveled pretty much around the world, following him to different bases. His last assignment was in Washington State, so I did go to college at Washington State University and graduated in 1968 as a doctor of veterinary medicine.
Ooh, yeah. How long have you been playing pickleball?
I started in the fall of 2007, shortly after I retired from veterinary practice, and no one told me not to run backwards on the court, which I did, and fell and broke my hip. So I would caution people, be careful about running backwards.
You betcha, yes, especially when you get older.
Oh, yes.
Michael. What was your experience in the office like?
Well, I bought my first practice in 1971, and from then until 2007, I operated 3 veterinary hospitals, and thinking back on it, really there wasn't anything else I would rather do than work on animals, and it was a very rewarding career, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, that's great, Mike. And tell us about your experiences when you were in office here at Happy Trails.
My first real experience as president was at the April 8, 2010 Board of Directors meeting. My predecessor, Del Root, and I had gone to the board the previous month and asked if we could, because of our numbers and our need for additional courts, if we could take the Cascade tennis court and make 4 pickleball courts out of it. And the board rejected that on that April 8th agenda, 7-0. So what I did right after that is I met with 4 board members individually. I took them to both the Cascade Court venue and the Town Center venue and showed them where there was room to build 1 court at each place. And with those 4 members of the board of directors being fairly positive about it, I felt good that we could get that passed. And so at the May 14, 2010 excuse me, board meeting, that was approved, that they gave the pickleball court the right to build those 2 courts if we funded the project ourselves. So I went right to work and remembered the club had worked at the stadium in previous years, at the University of Phoenix Stadium, to raise money. And so I contacted the stadium, and they allowed us to work 6 games in that coming season. Overall we had 92 volunteers. The stand took at least 40 people to operate, and we worked those 6 games. Wow. And raised $17,000 towards that new court.
Wonderful, Mike. I didn't know all that. It took that many people to run that.
Yeah, it was a 15 cash register concession stand. Wow. Plus we had cooks and food prep workers. So yeah, it took a lot of us to do it. And my heart goes out to all those people that volunteered their time and effort, because it was those games were long days and a lot of hard work and on our feet the whole time. And I've not really been associated with a group of people quite like this pickleball club, where there are so many people willing to do whatever it takes.
Great, Mike. And now you said, what did that court up at the center cost? Was it expensive too? It's expensive.
At Town Center, I believe the overall cost was right around $34,000, $5,000 of which were for city permits, which I thought was ludicrous, but what do you do?
That's right.
So anyway, and now we have sufficient funds to build the 2nd court at the Cascade venue, which we hope will be done this spring of 2012.
Yes, that's great. Well, it sounded like you were the a real promoter of both those courts, Mike, and I didn't know that. This is wonderful. Thank you very much for telling us all about there. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add before I turn this
That
off?
was my goal. After again the board turning down our request to take over the tennis court because we certainly had many more users than they seemed to have, but that was my goal coming into the office of president of the pickleball club, was to get more courts.
Well, great, Mike, and you did complete your goal. That's wonderful, and we're so glad you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bernie.